All right, welcome everybody. Toby Milroy here again, and today we're walking through the 6 fundamental internet marketing musts, all updated for 2017. And today's presentation is sponsored by Amazing Martial Arts Websites. So we're going to be talking about what's new in 2017 so far as your martial arts school's website and online marketing, and also what's sort of the same. What are the fundamental principles that sort of don't change over time, and integrated with all of the new tactics for the new year. So number one, the first very, very fundamental sort of piece of our whirlwind tour today, the first thing that you have to be considering when you're talking about your martial arts school website is purpose. What is the purpose of this site? There are many, many, many reasons to use the internet, many reasons to use websites and social media and things like that in not only promoting your martial arts school, but also in student retention and delivering the product to the student, delivering lessons, delivering content to students over time. So the very first bit of this is you've got to be incredibly clear about the purpose of the site that we're talking about. The worst thing in the world you can do is confuse your potential student, or in this case, potential prospective member, or even in your current members. So the most important part of this is understanding who this site is specifically for. Today, we're going to be talking about websites that are specifically designed for your prospects, that are specifically designed to create new students in your school. And what you must keep in mind is that what might be appropriate for a current student may be very inappropriate for prospective students. So for example, you and I, we love imagery like this, right? We love, martial arts action, and we love to see great quality martial artists competing and things like that. But this type of imagery for a prospective student, for a prospective member, may be completely inappropriate, right? If, for example, you're in the family martial arts market, if you're looking for, children from, let's say, 5 or 6 years old to 12 or 13 years old, something like that, if that's what your site is designed to do, if that's what you're trying to accomplish in your martial arts programs, if that's the customer you want to serve, then obviously it's usually the mother, mom who's doing the shopping, right? Mom who's sort of looking for lessons. And if she comes across imagery like this, if she sees imagery like this on your website, or certainly for your prospecting website, the odds are this is not a very attractive picture for her, right? She's going to imagine her child's face on one of these two individuals, right? And the odds are it's probably the least experienced individual, right? So does she really want to think, that her son or daughter is going to go to a martial arts school and be treated this way, or have this type of an experience, right? Now, obviously, for our current students, there might be reasons to have imagery like this, right? There may be students who understand the culture of what we're doing and understand that it's respectful competition and things like that. But for your prospective member, for the person who's not yet indoctrinated, who doesn't really understand what the school is all about yet, showing them imagery like this more than confuses them. I would argue that, especially in the family market, that this repels them, right? So the first big recommendation and the first big chunk of having a direct purpose for the site is that we recommend, and we see the results of this across hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of websites that we're currently managing for martial arts schools, is we recommend a huge separation between your student service website and your prospecting website. And for today's purposes, we're going to talk about completely separate websites in general. So you've got to make sure that in your prospecting website, that everything on that prospecting website is designed for basically one purpose. And that one purpose is for when a visitor comes to the site, it should capture that visitor's excitement, elevate their excitement, and move them down the sales funnel, right? Move them down the pipeline, get them, more and more and more interested in your program, more and more interested in setting up an intro, setting up a trial lesson, whatever the case might be, whatever action it is that you want them to take. And you should show them nothing that diminishes that, enthusiasm, or nothing that diminishes their excitement about moving forward with you through the website, taking whatever action it is that you give them to take. So I would say that there are a few components of this that are very important. Number one is the design and overall look and feel of your site. So let's pop on over to a couple of samples here. Okay, so let's just kind of click around a little bit on this sample. This is just a template, a sample site that we use for discussion purposes. Number one, it is important that your design is attractive, right? Obviously, people, especially sophisticated consumers today, if your site is, if your site looks like a 9-year-old student put it together for you or something like that, then their sense of how professional you are as a business or how professional you are as a school is very different, right? So you want to make sure that the imagery is specifically appropriate for the market that you're seeking. And you'll see in this slider here, this is a mix. This is a mix of imagery that you may want to use for many, many, many different purposes. This is not, I would not recommend that you do, all of these on your own site, but this is specific to, each individual program. So for example, there's, relatively attractive images for martial arts birthday parties and, attractive imagery, if you're in the Olympics stage or trying to attract the preschool market, or if you're in the market for adults or whatever the case might be, or families. So you really want to make sure that what you're doing, what you're producing is attractive and looks very good and professional. The other component of this, again, let me reiterate that for a second. Our industry does have a bit of a sordid history, and there are all sorts of, sort of the dungeon dojos out there who at one level or another or one time or another have damaged our marketplace. And you want to make sure that they really do get a sense, the prospective customer does really get a sense of that this is a real legitimate business. This is a real organization that they're getting involved in, and it's not just a fly-by-night, learned how to build a website last night, put up some old crappy images, and here you go, right? So the design and the strategy behind the design is critically important, and we're going to talk about that in point number 3. Next is I think it's very important today. It's ridiculous anymore in today's market that your website, your prospective website, your prospect member website, it has to be user editable, right? You should be able to go in here and change this word if you want to, right? You shouldn't have to create a ticket and wait 7 days for that to be updated. You should be able to add pages, add posts, add content, change content on your website whenever you want, and you shouldn't really be held hostage. Internet technology is such today that there's no reason in the world for that anymore, right? With amazing martial arts websites, we have a very powerful front-end editor where you can go in. If you want this button to say, instead of click here, it would say, get our free special or look at our web specials or whatever the case is. I mean, you can just click and type it in there and it's done, right? You don't have to be dependent upon another organization to help you with that. You don't have to create a ticket and hope somebody looks at it someday. This is, really you want to have the ability to edit all this stuff and change things on your own if you ever decide that you want to do that. The next bit I would say again about design and design is a critical component because of the trust factor, right? You want the visitor to believe in you as a legitimate organization and build trust over time. You don't want to diminish that trust. Next is, it is very important, it's very useful to have address and phone number in the top right-hand corner. Users like that. And because users like that, Google also likes that. So very useful to make sure that you have your phone number and your address in the top right of your site. Also, this phone number, if it's clickable on mobile, is even better. But you want to make sure you do that. Google likes it, so then, of course, we like it as well. And the reason Google likes it is because users like it. Your name and logo top left is very useful. I do always recommend that the logo is pretty much as small as you can make it. Your logo is only important to you. It's not really all that important to the visitor. It's not important to the person who's looking for martial arts lessons. They mostly don't know the difference anyway. So it's important. It's useful to have it on the site for branding purposes and to sort of reinforce your brand and things like that. But I would recommend that it's very small because you want the message to be the important part. The message is what visitors are going to be, attracted to. So you want to be sort of realistic about that. You don't want to impose what we think is cool on the visitor. Okay, next is use of reviews, right? So again, if I'm trying to build trust and I'm trying to build desire in my prospective member. Reviews, case studies, testimonials. These are all very, very, very important and useful tools for us. My recommendation, my strong recommendation though, is never, ever, 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 ever use fake or embellished reviews. Make sure that these are 100% legitimate. I would also make sure that you have written paper or video backup of these reviews, and you keep those on file somewhere. About 5 or 6 years ago, well, number one, it's just really a bad idea to be deceptive, right? It's really a bad idea to lie to your prospective customers before they've even met you, right? I mean, what kind of a relationship is that going to be if their first interaction with you is reading a bunch of fake reviews or reading a bunch of reviews that are completely made up, and then you tell them, oh, by the way, these aren't real, but they could be, right? I mean, that just doesn't really make much sense. Not only does it make much sense, but it actually puts you in a some legal quagmire, I guess. About 5 or 6 years ago, the Federal Trade Commission and the Federal Communication Commission sort of collaborated on some legislation and some guidance, frankly, mostly targeted to the fitness and weight loss businesses and also the business opportunity business, some of these sort of television get-rich-quick infomercials and things like that. And they really, really, really got strict about what types of testimonials and reviews you could use in your websites and in your literature. And at the time, they went so far as to state that any case study or review that you publish must accurately represent what the average consumer would expect to achieve or accomplish in your program. And obviously, that's impossible to legislate. That's impossible to adjudicate, right? It's impossible to measure that. So they've since backed off slightly on that definition, but it's critically important that any and all reviews that you ever use are from completely legitimate sources and they're completely legitimate testimonials. Do not play with that, right? I have two relatively good friends of mine, folks that I've worked with, folks that I've spent time with. I was in the same mastermind group with a couple of them who literally spent time in jail because they published reviews that were completely legitimate, but were positioned out of context, and they were slapped very hard for it. So please, don't be deceptive, right? Play this game straight up, and make sure that you're using completely legitimate reviews and you're able to back those up as well. So again, the whole point here in looking at your prospect website is to think like them, not like us, right? All the imagery, all the design elements, all of the benefits that we're talking about in our program should be focused on what the prospective member wants, not what we like or what we think is cool, okay? So all the information that I'm going to present on my prospect website should move them closer to taking an action, should move them down the funnel toward me, toward the school, toward taking a trial, whatever your specific objective is. A great example of this that I see all the time is in many schools' websites that we review, I'll go into their site and I'll see hyperlinks where they take visitors away from their website out to their association's website or over to their equipment vendor's website or whatever the case might be. And I mean, that's the worst thing in the world, right? I mean, you've just now gotten a prospective student to your website, and now you're linking them away. You're taking them away from your site. Really bad strategy, right? So you want to kind of keep them here and make sure that this is moving them closer and closer to taking an action. We also like to have a little map of the location here, and that gives them sort of the opportunity to see where we are in relation to where they are and understand whether that's something that kind of fits their paradigm, right? So that's for purpose, for marketing must number 1 of our 6 today. Being clear about your purpose. What is the purpose of this site? And everything about the site, everything we do with the site should move us toward that purpose. So marketing must number 2 for 2017 is get found, right? This is search engine optimization. This is search engine marketing. This is setting up the site initially is very important to make sure that it's set up appropriately at the beginning, right? There are many search engine optimization tactics and techniques that you want to make sure that you're utilizing fully in the right ways. thinking that you're going to game the Google system is pretty much a losing proposition, right? Google's very smart. And there are, what you want to do is play the game the way Google wants you to play the game, rather than trying to sort of work Google in general. And when I'm describing Google, Google still is the global search leader, right? Right now, just in the U.S., Google accounts for a little over 75% of all the organic searches. So we still do, Google still is number one. They're still the 800-pound gorilla. We really want to make sure that we're thinking about Google and the way they view the world when we're constructing these sites. So for today's purposes, we're going to talk mostly about the things that Google likes, and what Google likes. Keep this in mind as a fundamental principle. What Google likes is for people who are searching for a thing to be able to find that thing, right? To return relevant, important search results to that user. So the number one item that we're going to talk about today, so far as it getting found, right? Making sure that we have our site adequately optimized for Google, is keyword and content density, right? So in the content of our website, in the text and words and images and things like that of our website, we want to make sure that Google understands what our pages are all about. And there are several ways to do that. There's several things that you have to do. Obviously, there's meta tag optimization, and that's, we do all that for you. But when you're looking at the source of your website, there are description tags. It's probably too confusing, frankly, but there are description tags that you want to be optimizing with the right keywords. If you're in the, let's say Los Angeles area, then what would a prospective member be typing in to Google if they're looking for something that you offer? So if you want to make sure that your site is optimized for, martial arts in Los Angeles, or karate in Los Angeles, or self-defense in Los Angeles, or, bully prevention in Los Angeles, whatever the case might be. So you want to make sure that your site is set up and optimized for those key phrases. And if you look through our sites, you'll see that we're using those key phrases all over the place. And in fact, we're using exactly the search engine, what's called keyword density, that Google recommends. We play it exactly the way Google wants us to, right? We don't sort of over-optimize or under-optimize. We follow their recommendation and their benchmarks specifically. And these sites are also completely optimized for your specific location. So, everywhere where it says Orlando, here, Orlando, Florida, your zip code and stuff will pop in there. And then obviously you can go in here and since these are all user editable, you can go in here and update these words anytime you like. We just give you a really, really, really good start. And it's a highly optimized head start, basically. Next is, using the permalinks is very important. So these are the URLs. Having the key phrases that you're optimized for in the URL past the slash is very useful. And also, Google likes to see those key phrases delimited by a dash. So you'll see here we have our root domain, which is, again, it's just a test domain, so don't worry about that too much. But past this slash right here, Google really likes to see the description of your page, right? They like to see a title, page title, delimited by dashes, that describes what your page is all about. And again, you'll see that this says martial arts for kids. And if this were a live website, again, if this was for example, Orlando, it would say martial arts for kids in Orlando, right? So that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that all of those permalinks are optimized. All of those extensions, URL extensions, are optimized with those key phrases. Also, we really like to have the key phrase that we're looking for. So for example, this would normally say martial arts in Orlando, right? If you were a live site, you'd want it to say something like martial arts in Orlando or martial arts lessons in Orlando, whatever the case might be. And that's in an H1 tag, which means it's a heading 1 and it's above the fold. So that means when a person on an average size screen loads this page, this H1 tag, this headline 1 tag, will have the main key phrase that you're optimizing for above the fold. So this is very strategically placed there for a reason. There's also lots of other little ninja backend, optimization tactics. Anchor text, which are these little martial arts program for kids. If you see that, that links to a page called Martial Arts for Kids in Orlando, and that's called anchor text. So that helps Google understand what that link is all about, and what page it is that's going to land me on. So you want to make sure that your anchor text is all set up appropriately and is looking good. Images. These images also have alternate tags and have descriptions built into them, sort of in the back end of the website code and HTML. So you want to make sure that all of your image tags are optimized, the alt tags and the description tags and things like that. Google will use that as an indicator of what that image is about, and therefore implicitly tell Google what the page is about that it lives on. Also, your sitemap and your privacy policy are very important. You want to make sure that you're set up appropriately with those links so that Google knows what your site's all about, and also knows your privacy policy so that when you're buying ads on Google or Facebook, it's going to want to know what that privacy policy is and make sure that you have that appropriately set up. And then also what you can't see on the page is you want to make sure that your site is set up with some type of an analytics package. So either Google Analytics or some other analytics package, so that you can see the traffic, you can see how many visitors you're getting and where they're going. So that's critically important to optimizing the site for Google and for search. So that was point number 2, get found, getting your site set up so that it can be found easily. So number 3 is the funnel. And I'm sure you've heard us talk a lot about this over the last few years. The funnel is critically important, making sure that your site is constructed in a way that moves traffic the direction you want it to move. So this is the core fundamental internet marketing formula. If you followed any of my stuff for any period of time, I'm sure you've seen this already. But number 1 is traffic times conversions equals revenue, right? Equals money, equals students, equals actions, whatever the case might be. So traffic is moving people to your website, but moving them to your website isn't enough. There are so many websites, so many school sites that we see out there. Every month we probably look at 300 or 400 sites in our industry, and the overwhelming majority are really terrible. Some are better. There are a few folks out there that really have a good sense of this stuff now, but so many are so bad, and they're really more like an online brochure. They're really, in some cases, pretty, but really just don't have an ability to convert a visitor to a prospective student or a prospect in general. So you want to make sure that your site is set up with this sort of funnel concept. So as prospects come into the front end, as prospects hit your website, as prospects sort of get to the page initially, that there's a mechanism, a funneling mechanism that sort of sorts them out. And at the end of the sort of funnel process, you end up with people who are new students or new prospective students, right? And the most optimum strategy to this date in sites that we're managing and sites that we're testing. Again, right now we're managing hundreds and hundreds of sites for schools, and we're constantly testing our beliefs about these things. We're constantly testing different orchestrations, different organizations, different page types, different layouts and images and tags and things like that. And we're always honing and trying to beat the controls. We're always trying to do better than we did before. And so far, the optimum strategy is still what we call sort, squeeze, sell. So I'll kind of walk you through that, what that is here in just a moment. But this is sort of the optimum, tactic right now for moving prospective members through your site. So step number 1 is sort. And sorting is when a prospective prospective customer gets to your site, you want to show them a series of options. 2, 3, or 4 are the most optimum. Any more than 4, we see a relatively deep drop in conversions. The less, the better, right? So if there's 2 options, it's better than 3. If there's 3 options, it's better than 4. The more options you give, the visitor, the more confused they seem to get, right? They're just not exactly quite sure where to go. So typically, we're going to sort them out by market, right? Sort them out by what their desire is and who they are, right? So again, the first sorting option here are kids. I'm looking for lessons just for kids. In this case, I'm looking for lessons just for adults. Maybe I'm looking for lessons that the entire family can participate in together. And then here I'm looking for a fitness type program. So these are four very different options, right? Again, I'd be better with 3 and I'd be even better with 2. But the point is, my initial step is to sort people out by market. The prospective member should instantly see what looks like me. That looks like me. that looks like what I want, right? That looks like that looks like something that I feel good and comfortable with, right? So number one, the first concept is sorting. The second step, so once let's say, for example, I pick the children, I say martial arts for kids. That's going to take me over to what we call a squeeze page. And a squeeze page is something that encourages me to take an action, right? So this is something that gets me to, in this case, opt in. I'm going to fill out a form and basically give you my information. All of our squeeze pages right now, we have video-enabled squeeze page options. Almost all of it, we have dozens and dozens and dozens, I think almost over 50 different video squeeze pages now. So for example, as this page loads, this video will play, and this is designed for traditional martial arts lessons for kids, and it's designed to focus on the benefits, discipline and respect, focus and concentration, self-esteem, self-defense, etc. And it's designed to be, this is just one example of this particular message, but it's designed to move people toward setting an appointment, toward trying out a trial lesson or whatever the case might be. So our call to action here is, hey, fill out the form on this page and you'll get, you'll see our web discount or introductory offer, whatever that might be. And in many cases, we recommend that you all also offer some type of a free bonus. So your form would be here. Any type of CRM application that you're using, we integrate with pretty much any CRM provider. We're especially deeply integrated with Atlas Martial Arts software, where you can pop that Atlas form right in here, and all that data will go into your system when they fill it out. And then obviously on the squeeze page as well, we tell them a little bit about what we're all about and about the offer that they're going to be able to take advantage of. I also reinforce that with, again, some really legitimate good testimonials, what parents are saying. And then we also never have an orphan page. You never want to sort of bottleneck somebody through a page where if they can't find what they're looking for, they leave your site. We sort of give them a secondary navigation option down here. So for example, if they get to the bottom and they're like, well, this isn't quite what I was looking for. Oh, well, maybe I wanted to see a fitness program. So then we can move them straight to the fitness page as well. So the video-enabled squeeze page, the video-enabled funnel pages, we see are converting, in many cases, more than 80% better than just text alone. Videos tend to be high perceived value. They tend to be engaging. The music that you choose and the imagery that we're choosing tend to be very engaging and very powerful. Let me see if I can't show you the gallery. Yeah, so here's a gallery of all of the, not all, but a large sampling of the videos that we have available for our members. These are sort of the cartoon hand drawing videos. This specific one is designed for families, for the kids, and for yourself or whatever the case is. And these tend to be very engaging, very cool. People really, the amount of time that people spend watching these types of hand drawing videos is much higher than almost any other style. So this is a very, very cool, very useful, and we have an entire series of these. Very cool theme and outline. Let's see, we also have these sort of uplifting music, positive music, some kind of cool animated backgrounds and things like that. We have a series of, again, sort of high beats per minute, engaging types of videos. Let's see. We also have videos specific for adults only, men only, women only, fitness programs. Let's see what else here. Geez, we have so many. There's more, 50. This one's designed specifically for busy women, busy moms, maybe that are, juggling the career and the family and now need something for themselves. This is a great video for them. Let's see. We also have specific videos for different styles. For example, this one is designed specifically for children, but more of a Chinese soft style influence, right? So these are mostly kung fu type uniforms and things like that. These videos are specifically for after school programs, transported after school martial arts programs. These are designed for birthday parties. Gosh, this is an anti-bully series of videos. Again, some more Chinese kung fu type uniform videos. After school martial arts, geez, a whole series of after school. Summer camp and summer camp martial arts promotions. let's say birthday parties, 3 or 4 more birthday party ones, anti-bullying concepts, adult Chinese uniforms, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, fitness kickboxing type programs. Let's see what else. Olympic style programs, MMA, more Chinese styles. Oh, some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, sort of a little bit more gritty, a little bit more sort of high performance athlete type programs. What else? Geez, fitness and sort of life balance type programs, fitness diet, things like that. Krav Maga specific programs. MMA, you get the idea, right? So a huge variety of video squeeze pages and sales pages that you can use in your site. So these are just really, really, really very, very useful for increasing your conversion rate. And then after we move them through our squeeze page, we then move them to our sales page. And the sales page is where we're really trying to get a buying action. This is a registration action now. Either they're going to set up an appointment or they're going to take advantage of some kind of a trial program. And again, now this is sort of our sales page, and these are all now video-enabled sales pages, just like our squeeze pages. The adding video to adding persuasive, well-written, well-copywritten videos to our sales pages has really helped us boost conversion quite a bit. So again, our video-enabled sales page, and then some type of a special offer, whether it's a free beginner program or whatever the case might be, whatever your specific offer is, you can kind of customize that and make sure that it's in here. And then again, you have the opportunity to use as much copy or as little copy as you like. Again, this is all user editable. I will tell you, though, that these sales letters are pulling relatively well. We're always testing these. We're always testing our headlines. We're testing our bullet points. We're testing our copy. We're testing our offers, and these are working relatively well. So this is the big form here that they can now take advantage of a trial or some type of whatever your particular offer would happen to be. So again, I'm moving them through the sort, squeeze, sell orchestration. Okay, and for number 4 of the Internet Marketing Must for 2017 is the triangle of trust. And anytime you're marketing your business, your school online, it's different than standing face-to-face talking to someone, looking them eye to eye, right? Their level of skepticism is much higher online because they don't have any way of knowing you. They don't have any way to hear the tonality in your voice or the sincerity of what you're saying. So they're naturally skeptical. So it's critically important to understand that online marketing, utilizing a website to create traffic in your martial arts school is very, 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 very often not a one-step thing, right? It's a multi-step thing. This is where you create a prospect. You've created a lead by putting them through your funnel. Now you've got that person in your automation system. Again, if you're using Atlas martial arts software, you've got them in your marketing automation funnel, and they're automatically receiving text messages and emails and much, much, much more to help them learn about you and your school. So understand that many, the overwhelming majority of the people who visit your website are not going to take an action today, but to continue to drip on them and move them down your funnel. So the triangle of trust in rough strokes looks like this. Number 1 is you have your traffic source, and that could be Facebook or your email list or whatever the case might be. But you've now got a traffic source. If it's organic traffic, they're just finding you on Google. If you're placing ads on Facebook, if you're placing ads on Google, if you're buying traffic somewhere else, or if you're hitting your email list, over time, this traffic, you want to give them something of value for them to take an action today, right? So if they're getting an email from you and you just say, hey, listen, you should enroll my black belt program, it's probably not very persuasive, right? But to get them to move one step at a time, to get them to move one step down the funnel is much, much more effective. So for example, I could send them an email today that the subject line says, hey, John, cool new video on my blog. I really think you'll get some value from this. And video is sort of a high perceived value thing, and people love watching video online. So sometimes videos for this purpose are very, very useful. Then they click that email. They click the link in the email, or they click the link on the Facebook ad, whatever the case is. Then they move to the right. They move to my site. And in that site, you should, and must, frankly, have some type of a blog functionality, the functionality to be able to add content to your site ad libitum whenever you want to. And a blog is one way to do that that's relatively easy. So you now drive them to a blog post, where you deliver that video and sort of deliver the content that you promised them that was going to be valuable. And again, with our huge video library, that becomes a relatively easy chore as well. So the point is, we're driving them through that funnel again, right? We're driving them to the blog. They're watching the video, they're consuming that, and at the end of the video or right below the video, it says, hey, listen, if you thought this was valuable, then our traditional martial arts program for children, or our traditional martial arts program for adults, or our fitness kickboxing program, whatever it is, you're really going to love that. People are burning, almost 1,000 calories in a workout. Click here and you can, see for yourself how that might be useful, right? And then you move them to an offer page. So the triangle of trust is very, very, very useful. And here's sort of, again, the funneling effect that we talked about earlier. So I've sent my prospect an email. They've clicked on that email. I now have this sort of blog section, this section where I can add blog posts as much as I like to. Again, this is very, very, very useful for your website, having lots of keyword density, lots of articles in your website about, martial arts in your area, or about kickboxing in your area, or whatever the case might be. This is one of the huge competitive advantages that people using amazing martial arts sites have over almost everybody else in our industry, where almost everybody else's website is completely static. It never gets updated. It stays the way it is, right? And if you have two websites side by side and they're exactly the same, and one was updated yesterday and the other one hasn't had new content on it for a year, Google is going to like the one that was updated yesterday more, right? It's using that as a signal. It's using that as a signal of how relevant and important your website is. So one of the services that we offer at Amazing MA Sites is the ability to push blog content out to your website for you, right? But certainly, even if you're not using that, you have the ability to go in here and add as many posts as you want to, as often as you like. And I'll talk to you in a little bit about how to syndicate that out to your social media as well. But so the triangle of trust, I've sent them an email. They've moved over here to my blog. They've gone into my blog post. They read the article or they watch the video, whichever mechanism you're going to use. And then I'm also showing them how they can take advantage of a free introductory offer, or whatever it is. It could be a weight loss seminar, or how to burn, 800 calories in 45 minutes or something like that, right? Like something cool of value that they might like. And then they can also flow back through my sorting funnel as well. So number 4, again, is implementing appropriately the triangle of trust. Very important because of how skeptical your visitors are likely to be as they move through the internet and they're moved into your funnel. And number 5 in our internet marketing must for 2017 is something that we call social momentum. And what I mean by that is not, sending your visitors from your website over to Facebook, right? That seems like just a really bad strategy. Once I finally get them to my website, I want them to take an action. I don't want them, going back out to, somewhere else. But what I mean is social momentum. So this is the ability for your users to share your content, or your visitors to share your content with all their friends. Also a concept called social syndication that I'm going to talk to you about today, and retargeting or remarketing on both social and Google for that matter. So let's jump into that real quick. So obviously we want to encourage sort of all of our visitors to share our content, and we have all sorts of tools built into our site to help that happen. And, we want them to maybe share it on Facebook or share it on Twitter or Pinterest or whatever the case is. So really important to include that type of functionality on your site. It's sort of, I don't want to say pedestrian, but it's pretty easy to facilitate that. People kind of understand what that's all about, and it's pretty easy to do. But you certainly want to make sure that your users are encouraged and able to share that content out on their social media sites. But much more sort of innovative is this concept that we're using a lot in our sites now, called social syndication. And this is basically an automated mechanism that's hardwired into your site. It's built right into your website, that when you post new content on your site, for example, a new blog post or a new squeeze page or whatever you want, you have the option to then syndicate that post out to all of your social media, but not just your profiles, right? Certainly you want your content to automatically go out to your social profiles, right? And that's pretty easy. We can set that up just sort of out of the box. But in addition to that, our social syndication mechanism has the ability to syndicate, to push that content, not just only out to your pages, but out to all of the groups that you're part of. So for example, if you're the member of 100 different groups on Facebook, you can have all of that content go out to all of your Facebook groups. It's pretty amazing. So here's sort of a quick walkthrough of that. This is the Amazing Martial Arts website site. If you take a look at this social syndication little panel here, you'll see what happens is your post, your content, whatever type of content you like, when you create that, when you publish that post, that can then be pushed out to, obviously your Facebook profile, Twitter, LinkedIn, all that sort of stuff, but then also each individual Facebook group that you might be a part of, or discussion forum that you might still be engaged in outside of Facebook, or YouTube channel, or Pinterest, or whatever the case is, or Plurk, or Reddit, right? Stumble upon. So this is really sort of another level of automation that really no one in our industry is doing yet. And I'm really, really excited that we're, sort of pioneering this. And if structured appropriately, if you are members of all of the local Facebook groups that are relevant to your market, the local elementary school groups, the local homeschool groups, the local SWIP swap groups, the local marketplace groups, this can automatically syndicate your post out to those groups, and it's really, really, really a great traffic channel. So that's a very, very, very cool and very sort of cutting-edge piece of technology that we're hardwiring right into our websites that are really useful for you. And then next in our social momentum category is this concept of remarketing and retargeting. And our sites are set up for being compliant with remarketing and to help you be able to retarget easily. Retargeting tends to be sort of a complicated thing for some people to understand, but it's very, very, very simple. What happens is a prospect comes to your website. No matter how they got there, it doesn't matter. Maybe they came by email, maybe they came by Facebook post or an ad, or they just Googled you, whatever, it doesn't matter. They come to your website. While they're on the website, we do some magic for you. Right? We basically cookie their browser. We put a remarketing pixel on their browser for a remarketing cookie in their browser for you. And as that person goes around the internet, maybe they go over to CNN.com next, or maybe they go over to back to Facebook, or they go out to Yahoo, or whatever the case is. We're tracking them, right? The website is tracking them, and you can use. You can basically follow them with your ads. So if you're buying Facebook ads, or if you're buying Google ads, or whatever the case is, your ads will now have the ability to show up in these other sites, on these other properties, to the people that have already visited your website. So if I'm using the Triangle of Trust, and I have all of my email list, they've all come to my website, they've read my blog post, they've watched my video. Some of them are going to take an action today, but most won't. And those who don't, I want to make sure that I stay in front of them. So our sites are set up for you to handle all the remarketing back end. Obviously, it's up to you to see what kind of advertising you want to be doing on those outlets. But our sites are fully compliant with and help manage for you that remarketing activity. So it's very, very, very useful and important. We're getting really, really good results on retargeting right now. In most cases where we're buying ads, we're getting almost 5 times the conversion rate on retargeted ads than we are on cold ads, which totally makes sense. So it's really an opportunity that you should be leveraging at a high level. Number 6, and finally on our 6 internet marketing musts for 2017, is your sites must be mobile responsive. And it looks like I'm missing a quote there. Number 6, and finally, on our 6 internet marketing musts for 2017, your sites must be mobile responsive. And I'm using the word responsive there on purpose. 4 or 5 years ago, and even 3 or 4 years ago, the right strategy was to have a mobile-specific website. Google now has issued direction and guidance that users like the responsive platform better. A responsive website is where, regardless of how wide your screen is, regardless of the type of screen you have, the same website renders slightly differently. And I'm sure you've seen that on many, many, many websites. If you look right now at search traffic, at search trends over time, in 2015, last year, we saw for the very first time that mobile search was eclipsing desktop search. So this means more people are basically Googling on their mobile phones than they are on their desktop computers. And in 2016, it was almost 25% more. It was a little more than 25% more. And I think you can see the steepness of the curve of mobile search, right? So mobile search is the thing that is radically increasing in consumption, and we want to make sure that we're adequately optimized and perfectly optimized for the mobile markets. And Google is recommending using responsive design rather than having a mobile-specific site. Instead of having like m.yoururl.com, it really likes to see one website that just simply renders differently based on the width of the screen and the size of the screen. So let's take a look at that real quick. So if you take a look, here's an example of our sort of demonstration site again. You'll see as the screen size changes, you'll see how components will sort of move around. So for example, the header. This header is basically set up so that if you're on a narrower device, it just simply resizes, right? You see, it's the same image. It looks the same. It doesn't change. This makes Google more comfortable. Now you're seeing the same website, right? It knows that you're not being sort of deceptive in some ways, like you're showing mobile visitors one thing and desktop visitors something else. Again, as you continue to move towards sort of the mobile phone size, these programs sort of stack, and it makes it much easier to consume on a mobile device, right? So again, you want to really be making sure that your site is mobile responsive and that it's sort of compliant with what Google really likes to see. It's a pretty easy test to do for yourself. You should, just shrink your screen back and forth or go view your website on a mobile device. What Google really doesn't like right now is a website that's a fixed width. And then if you look at it on your mobile device, it just shrinks the whole thing down really small, right? So now you've got to zoom in to see the website, and it's just a really bad user experience. And Google knows that that's a bad user experience, and it likes to see the sites that reformat themselves, restructure themselves, move things around as you're visiting a smaller and smaller screen. So I hope that all of that's useful for you. These are the 6 core internet marketing musts for 2017. One of my favorite things to do in the world is to work with smart school operators and help them grow their businesses. And I've been blessed in my life to be able to have accomplished that so many times and for so long. And I'm really, really excited for 2017, what the online marketing sphere is looking like for martial arts schools. It's becoming easier and easier and easier for us to identify and to drive traffic from social media, to drive traffic from organic searches into a good lead generation website and get better and better results. Google and Facebook remarketing and retargeting are just fantastic right now. They're great strategies for us, and we're really getting great results. So I hope that that's all useful for you. If you want help, if you need help getting the site finished, if you need help getting the site optimized and set up for you, or if you're starting from ground zero, check out amazingmartialartswebsites.com. And we'll be able to help you with that. I have a whole team of very talented designers and search engine optimization specialists here at headquarters that can help you get this set up and get this funnel working for you so that you can drive traffic in your front door. So I hope that's useful for you. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, and we'll speak again next time.